Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Third Floor. As I'm sure most of you know, our channel gained the majority of our following when we made a handful of videos about CW's Arrowverse. So, I thought it'd be cool to discuss the breaking news that just dropped about its leading man, Stephen Amell. But before we get started, I'd like to ask you guys to please remember to like and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subs, and we'd appreciate any help that we can get. Without further ado, let's get into it. Earlier this morning, Stephen Amell announced on his Instagram that he had been cast as the leading man for the new show Suits LA. This show is a spin-off of the wildly popular show Suits that originally aired between June of 2011 and September of 2019. The show focused on a wildly intelligent young man with a photographic memory named Mike Ross, and his journey as he lies his way into a job at one of the biggest law firms in New York City. When this show originally aired on the USA Network, it was considered a moderate success, but it would quickly soar to new heights when it was released onto Netflix and Peacock. Between these two platforms, Suits would go on to become the most streamed show of all time, and in 2023, it was streamed for 57.7 billion minutes, narrowly beating out the ever-popular show The Office. A spin-off of Suits has been rumored for some time now, and everyone has been wondering whether or not the original cast would be brought back for one more go. But now it appears that that will not be the case. While you can never rule out a cameo or two, it looks like Suits LA will be going in a different direction, starting with Mr. Amell. He'll be playing the role of Ted Black, a former New York City attorney who decides to journey west and start a new law firm with his friend. Variety.com describes this character as a charismatic force of nature who puts his own needs above others. Now I know many people, including myself, will think Ted Black sounds fairly similar to the OG Suits character Harvey Specter, at least the Harvey Specter we see in Season 1. But to be fair, that was always to be expected. The Suits brand will always be a group of suave, intelligent workaholics who crave success above all else. If they would have done anything different, it wouldn't have felt like Suits to us, the fans. So while I am a bit concerned that we may be getting a nearly identical story, I'm going to withhold my judgment until I can actually start watching the show myself. Now, if you're new to the channel and are unfamiliar with Stephen Amell, he is most well known for his role as billionaire vigilante Oliver Queen on CW's Arrow. And more recently, he's also produced and starred in a movie titled Code 8, which will be getting a sequel later this month. As an actor, Stephen Amell is multi-talented. He has a commanding presence on screen, and I have no doubt he'll be able to handle the lead role of this show. He's also very well spoken and will hopefully be able to make all of the clunky legal jargon sound believable to us non-lawyers. And one thing most people don't know about him, he's also actually pretty funny. If you don't believe me, check out his very brief yet funny stint on the show Blue Mountain State. Fans of the original Suits will be thrilled to hear this, as one of the things that made the OG show so great was the sarcastic banter between the main cast. I think Stephen Amell will be able to step into the Suits universe and make it his own. But I do have one small concern. As I mentioned earlier, the Suits universe is filled to the brim with suave people. With their fancy suits, slicked back hair, and clean-shaven faces, they all seem very proper, for lack of a better word. Whereas Stephen Amell has always seemed more gruff and unkempt. He's more Jason Bourne than James Bond. Or more Travis Tanner than Harvey Specter, if you know what I mean. Now, to be clear, by no means am I saying he's a bad-looking guy. I mean, I think it's quite obvious he's a really good-looking dude. I just have a hard time picturing him as a hotshot lawyer in a three-piece suit. But hey, that could just be because I've watched him beating people up in green tights for the last decade. Either way, it's a small complaint to have. Now, I think the thing that will really make or break the show is actually the cast they put around him. Despite all of his talent, Stephen Amell cannot carry a boring law show by himself. I mean, to be honest, I don't think anyone can. The intense intricacies of the law don't make a show like this work. It's all about the relationships between the characters. And that means the casting department has a really big job ahead of them. They're going to have to try to find characters who can make a bond that is nearly as entertaining as the one shared between, say, Mike and Harvey in the original show. And hopefully, the studio will be able to expand upon that and find a cast that complements Stephen Amell well and give us another show worth binging. Overall, I'm still a bit shocked by this casting. I mean, I never ever expected it to happen. But now that it has, I'm not at all disappointed. I'm really eager to see what Stephen Amell and the rest of the Suits LA cast can do. But to be clear, no matter how well the show does, Stephen Amell will always be Oliver Queen to me. So that's all for today's very brief video. I just figured I'd hop on and share some information about an actor that seems really well liked by our community. Please remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future Suits LA news. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time on the third floor.